Oh, again, nearly a deuce, but not. And once again, the fish, you know, he hasn't done anything wrong, Jesse. He's done nothing wrong. He'll feel that it's just the fates conspiring.
This Premier League, barely 2 levels old in Devilfish, already fighting out of a corner, Vicky. 0 points through 1 heat for him.
It's incredibly cruel.
Of on the back situations, if we had a look back in time, I probably won about 15%, you know. I lost 85%, you know. So, and really, if you can't win them, you can't win these things.
I think he should get a penalty for that.
Well, the first crack in the armor of the Premier League, it's Devilfish out. Do you expect the action to speed up now that the points will be given out a little more liberally?
I think it's been pretty fast. Players have been getting in there, re-raising with 8-5 and calling with 6-10 and goodness knows what. So I don't know how it could get much faster.
Here comes the Wolf. He hasn't played many, and
well, no, ordinarily they would respect him because he's played so few hands, but these lines...
Probably too big, even against the roll and raise?
They're too big.
Can you leave me alone?
Does she? I mean, how many options does she have here? Can she call? Can she fold? Or is it an automatic all-in?
Yeah, I think she can call. She can almost fold, but not quite. Not quite.
She's asking for a count.
50, 60, 77,000 more.
Yeah, there's 77,000 back, which would be a big re-raise. She knows that Roland has had the sort of the least.
Come on.
Yeah, she's got the chips in first.
Pass. Take the 50.
And what sort of decision is this from Roland?
Had a bad feeling at the start of this hand.
I think he probably has to call it, but he knows that he's demonstrated a tight image. He knows she doesn't have nothing, but I think he has to call. He has to. He has to call. He has to hit.
I don't really know. I usually have a good feeling when I'm flipping, but.
Well, that's a good flop
Taking
for a
it on
net.
the turn or the river?
The flop.
2 cards.
Oh, the nines are going to stand up.
It's got to be the ace
Deuce
or queen,
ball.
or Roland getting 2 points.
I think it's there, actually. Queen of clubs.
Wow.
I had a bad feeling. Knocked over the
We
chips
lost
at the
another
start of the
player.
hand. Should have just folded.
Sorry.
Good
Yeah,
game.
buddy.
Good luck.
See ya.
Later.
See you later. He'll be next.
Well, so
no
far,
fair.
the old dogs have no tricks. The returning Premier League players, the Wolf and Devilfish, out. And it's JC Tran and Annette for the money right now. Each of these 4 now guaranteed at least 3 points in the league totals, which is not bad. But Eastgate and Black on the ends and on the bottom right now, chip-wise, Vicky.
Pass.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, in that pot, they were probably both funking for Roland just because, you know, on the form so far in this game, Annette's the more dangerous player with the chips.
Raise to 16,000 total.
Tran putting a little bit of pressure on AB.
All in.
We raise all
Oops.
And that is not what he wanted to hear.
No, I think that's the first time actually we've seen JC Tran get really out of line. That's the worst hand he's raised with. Unlucky timing.
Another monster.
Andy will have no problem going through the gears here.
How many chips do you have, Andy?
Want to count?
Just like 30, 40, 50.
I don't know. 30.
Yep.
Annette seems to be struggling mightily with the fact that everyone's chip count isn't sort of printed out on a monitor in front of her. But, you know, you're allowed to ask, aren't you?
I think she's reasonably familiar with the live game.
Pass.
She's a £1 million winner here in London. The World Series of Poker Europe.
Raise to 16,000 total. Pass.
And
Mullen.
Oh!
this is 2 opening raises in a row for JC Tran, and twice now he's gotten re-raised all in. Now this what?
Maybe 40 something.
I mean, he's really unlucky. There's only 4 of them there. There's not supposed to be kings out.
It's really a question of what Eastgate's range is here. Would Eastgate range with any re-raise with any 2 face cards?
He hasn't demonstrated that so far. He might raise with any 2 cards, but re-raising all in,
51,000 more.
he hasn't yet been seen to do that as a bluff.
Ace 3, not the best hand to take on a re-raiser with either, is it?
It's not terrific.
course,
If
against...
Eastgate's got ace queen, ugh.
It's 51,000 to win 86.
Oh, how much?
Call.
Wow. An idea that sort of right now Peter Eastgate and Andy Black are sort of looking to put leather to metal.
Obviously what went through JC Tran's mind is that Eastgate was just trying to take him off it, trying to pick up the raise, but...
Yeah.
I feel good about this hand.
It's 30%. It is any ace.
Oh,
Welcome to Peter Eastgate.
that pretty much decides that.
Queen Jack.
You're in deep trouble.
To be 22 again.
Yes.
Yeah, well that's...
Yeah, nice hand.
That's it, and interesting restructuring of the dynamic at the table now, because, you know, suddenly Annette's the big chip leader.
Well, you're absolutely right, Vicky. I mean, if there's one guy who's going to be really upset to only take away like 3 points here, it's JC Tran. After the position he was in, is he going to feel like he made a slip up here, or is it just...
What, look, he doesn't know Peter Eastgate very well. JC Tran watched some of the World Series final table. He saw some of the guys' hands. He doesn't know how Eastgate plays a six-handed one table. Nobody does. You know, the guy's so new on the scene. He's decided in that situation that Eastgate is capable of coming over the top with, you know, a wider range. And, you know, he's walked into kings. It can happen.
Pass.
Oh, there he goes, Peter Eastgate. Oh, was he just called?
Yeah, the raise was up to, I think it was nearly a mini raise, up to about 14,000.
He's just called.
Looking at a flop. These guys, they're both fairly deep. And the straight draw versus the top pair.
Yeah, he checks it. Eastgate. He thinks this aggressive player will follow through.
What do you think? Check to raise? Check to call?
Of course, she can hit a 9, you know, for the straight. She doesn't have no hand. It's not a bad flop for her, given the way things sit. Jack 10-10 would be nasty.
Do you feel like Annette's the kind of player that if she raises before the flop, she's betting on the flop every time? And that all in from Eastgate, that was nearly a topper bet. That was about 20 plus 100K.
Yeah, well, again, you know, they don't want to get tangled up with the net. He wanted to close it down quickly.
I get the feeling that now that it's four-handed, the blinds have gone up. This is sort of the
Pass.
this is the crux of the game. This is where there's going to be a lot of play. This jockeying from fourth to...
Three. Re-raise all in.
That's a quick decision from Andy. That's a pretty easy decision.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I think if Andy hadn't done that, maybe Peter Eastgate might have done with the ace-8.
Yeah, and if Tran hadn't have played the king-7, you could see Black and Eastgate playing an all-in here, for sure. But Tran, who had they had sort of a rotten experience with calling the re-raise against Eastgate. How does he feel against Andy?
I think he's going to pass this. I think he is going to pass. Although, you know, the decision he clearly made about Eastgate was this was a player capable of coming over the top with no hand. He may feel he was wrong about that, but he may still think the same of Andy Black. You know, they're two different people.
He's getting nearly 2-to-1, Vicky. I mean, if he's against two random cards, he's not that far from a price. Or, you know,
No, he's managed
ace
to...
something.
He's evaded it.
Now the Premier League begins.
Defending champion Andy Black. The Irishman spent 5 years in a Buddhist monastery in the 90s after crashing out of poker. He's been known to blow up at the final hurdle, but took down the Premier League title last year.
In 1997, my first attempt at the World Series of Poker main event, I finished 14th. Yeah, gutted. It was as if my whole life had been just ripped apart, taken away from me. There was nothing left. There was no meaning in the world. I realized I was going to quit. I was burnt out. I was gone. It was over. You know, I couldn't lift up another hand of cards. My head was too gone. It was actually over a period of 5 years that I didn't play poker. And then 2005, yeah, there was, you know, obviously, there was, you win 1.75 million and it makes a bit of a difference, you know.